y'all. It's Beth Shulam here. Welcome back to our Bible study with a Jewish lens of the scriptures. Today, I'm going to start a special 6-part series on the story of the life of Gideon. Gideon was one of the judges in the book of Judges, one of the judges of Israel. If you notice, I don't know if you can see it or not, I have a fan on my table here. I am of a menopausal age and I am hot. But I don't think you can hear it too terribly bad. But if you do hear it's my fan. I need it or I cannot go on. I have it on 24/7 now. That's my little disclaimer. So, let's get started with Gideon. Today we're going to explore and start in Judges chapter 6, where God calls Gideon to lead the Israelites out of the oppression of the Midianites. But there's a catch to this part of the story. Gideon doesn't exactly feel like the mighty warrior that the angel of the Lord calls him. And when we first meet him, he's in hiding, trying to make sure that the Midianites don't find him. Have you ever felt like you're not enough, or you don't have the right qualifications, or you haven't lived the right kind of life for what God may be calling you for? I think that most of us, most believers, can relate to Gideon. So, let's start by reading the first couple of verses of chapter 6, and then we'll skip over to verse 11 through 16. Just want to give you a little backstory about what's happening in the world of Israel. So, Judges chapter 6, verse 1, it says, "Then the Israelites did what was offensive to the Lord." And here, Lord is spelled L-O-R-D capitals, which means the tetragrammaton, or the name of the Lord, Yud, He, Vav, He, Jehovah. So the Israelites did what was offensive to the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Midianites for 7 years. The hand of the Midianites prevailed over Israel, and because of Midian, the Israelites provided themselves with refuge in the caves and strongholds of the mountains. So they're in hiding. And it says, after the Israelites had done their sowing, Midian, Amalek, and the Kedemites would come up and raid them. They would attack them, destroy the produce of the land all the way to Gaza, and leave no means of sustenance for Israel. So now let's start in verse 11. Here's where Gideon enters this story. An angel of the Lord came and sat under the terebinth at Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite. His son Gideon was then beating out wheat inside a winepress in order to keep it safe from the Midianites. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, "The Lord is with you, valiant warrior." Gideon said to him, "Please, my Lord, if the Lord in capitals, Jehovah, Yud-He-Vav-He, is with us, why has all this befallen us? Where are all his wondrous deeds and about which our fathers told us, saying, 'Truly, the Lord brought us up from Egypt'? Now the Lord has abandoned us and delivered us into the hands of Midian." The Lord turned to him and said, "Go in the strength of yours and deliver Israel from the Midianites. I herewith make you my messenger." He said to him, "Please, my Lord, how can I deliver Israel? Why, my clan is the humblest in Manasseh, and I'm the youngest in my father's household." Sounds familiar. The Lord replied, "I will be with you, and you shall defeat Midian to a man." Okay. First, Gideon is in hiding. He's at this wine press trying to thresh wheat without the Midianites finding out. Because again, it said when the produce would be sown, these foreign nations would come in, raid it, destroy it, and Israel had nothing to eat. So even now Gideon is trying to provide for his nation by threshing wheat for food. So here's this angel. He shows up and calls Gideon a valiant warrior. I can't imagine. Gideon's probably looking around and going, me? He's not feeling mighty at all. But here is the thing. God doesn't see him as he sees himself. He sees Gideon as what he can accomplish through Gideon. God wasn't calling Gideon based on the current situation of his life, but on the future strength he would provide to the nation. God already knew what Gideon was capable of. So, if you feel like you're not enough right now for God's calling, don't worry about it. God sees something in each of us that maybe we certainly can't see in ourselves sometimes. And I can tell you this from personal experience. I started teaching publicly only a few months ago. At the age of 50, I was always putting off this calling. And suddenly I had a dream and realized, okay, I think this is what God is asking me to do. So I think I better start doing it. And as I've been working in this process, I've come to realize I can do this. And you know what? I enjoy it. I always thought I'm going to hate that, but I don't. God knew before I did what I was capable of doing. Gideon's first reaction is doubt. He says, if God is with us, why are we in this mess? Why is Israel going through all these troubles? And have you ever felt like that? Like, God, if you're really with me, why is my life falling apart? I am sure a majority of us have felt this way. It is a very tough question to ask, but we see that God doesn't give us all the answers right away. Instead, he gives us a promise, and he gave Gideon this promise. He says, I will be with you. Plain, simple statement. So here's something, and the main point of this particular lesson in Gideon. God calls us in the middle of our doubts. For sure he does. He doesn't wait for us to feel ready. He doesn't need us to have it all figured out. And that to me is very encouraging. Gideon's immediate response is, but I am the smallest in my family. I'm the youngest. How can I do this? And that harkens to something very familiar, maybe to most of us, about someone else God used in a similar situation. King David. David was the youngest, the smallest of his brothers. But when Samuel went looking for the new king, Samuel looked at all the older brothers who were strong and mighty, tall, and had presence. And Jesse did not want to present David to Samuel, but Samuel said, no, he is the one. God knows what's in us before we do. We look at things God maybe asks us to do and we're like, there's no way. There's no way, Lord. There's no way. But God's call isn't about your ability. It's about his strength working in you. And we get that strength from the Holy Spirit, which resides in us. It's a power we have that if we harness it, we have the ability to do amazing things. God reassures Gideon by saying, I'm going to be with you through this. He doesn't promise things will be easy, the path will be smooth, but he promises his presence. And that's what makes all the difference. So I challenge you today. What's God calling you to do right now? Anything? It doesn't have to be something huge like saving his nation or your nation for that matter. It might be a small step of faith, developing a new relationship with another person so you can share the story of Yeshua. Or maybe it's a change in how you're living right now. And just like Gideon, you feel incredibly underqualified or unsure if those are the things that you should be doing. But remember, God's calling is not about how ready we are. It's about trusting. It's faith that he will equip us and be with us every step of the way. Whatever doubts you have, whatever struggles you're facing, know this: God is with you. That's all you need. When God calls, he equips, and he'll never leave you. That's so encouraging. And I hope this part of Gideon's story encouraged you like it does me. Our next installment about Gideon will show us how God used only 300 men to defeat an entire army. It's going to be awesome. It's really cool. So make sure to hit the subscribe button below so you'll be ready to watch it when it comes out. Before we go, I always love to hear from you. So have you ever felt like Gideon, unsure and unqualified for what God's calling you to do? Drop me a comment and share your thoughts about life. I love it. And as always, keep trusting God's plan for your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Shalom, y'all. Bye.
קומי אורי, כי בא אורך, וכבוד אדוני עלייך זרח. קומי אורי, כי בא אורך, וכבוד אדוני עלייך זרח.